Very grateful for your time on In Focus on Healthy Morning. Today we are so honored to have the MP for Madina with us on the show, and he's going to tell us all the health concerns in Madina and why he raised a question on the floor of Parliament on the 15th of February in that regard. It's an honor to be seated to one of the best lawyers in town. Lawyer Sosu is here with us. Lawyer, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, and a very good morning to our cherished viewers. Good morning to Madina and all the great people of Madina, the chiefs, the elders, our ghetto boys, truck drivers, market women. Assalamu alaikum.
How is the constituency? How is the constituency now?
Well, I think the constituency is doing very well. I mean, for the first time in the history of Ghana, I have sought to reposition Madina as a constituency, giving it a very loud voice, giving it a very effective and quality representation in terms of in terms of legislation, in terms of I would say oversight over the executive, and also in terms of working to provide the necessary social goods for my people in all these critical areas, which I believe are the core mandate of the Member of Parliament. I think so far so good.
Some beautiful initiatives that you've started with the constituency. You want to throw some light on some of these initiatives?
Yeah, so maybe to summarize it broadly, because the MP has a legislative function and then the oversight function and the let's say being an agent of development, i.e. where you bring your initiative. I'll pick it from the legislation. From a legislative point of view, in the last 2 years or 2.5 years or so, I have introduced 9 private members' bill. In fact, a last one may be introduced, God willing, next week on clean air bill, because of a bill to sanitize the air, or a law to prescribe how we use air and how the air can be clean for everybody. Because when you look at all the international reports, our airs are heavily polluted even in Greater Accra region here.
Yeah.
But the first major bill I introduced was the one to abolish death penalty.
Great.
His Excellency the President has endorsed the bill. Almost all stakeholders have all gotten involved, and it's going quite well. In fact, I'm on my way currently to Goa, which is in India, to join the Commonwealth Lawyers Association International Conference, where I'm going to be speaking on the need to abolish death penalty, looking at the Ghana example and what I'm doing in the Parliament of Ghana. And I'm leading some other parliamentary delegations to go and do this very important assignment. And then quite apart from that, I have a bill on compensations for persons who are wrongfully arrested and incarcerated. Remember that as a human rights lawyer, I've volunteered on the Justice for All program for many years. I've represented in excess of 800 prisoners on pro bono basis. And I've had a situation where most of these people, you release them in prison and they are now asking you, law refer, to go home, because they don't even know how. Because the people have been locked in prison sometimes for 10 years, 11 years, some 18 years, 14 years, and so on and so forth. So given the fact that the state has not got any legal infrastructure to compensate these people, it's important that we introduce a law to deal with that. And you'll recall the law on the law school review and the witchcraft bill. And you can talk about the cancer in children. It's a new law I brought, and then also putting mental health conditions on the NHIS, and then also victims of sexual violations. So these are all little. Of course, I have a bill for, I call it this an employment of persons with disability bill, which is sought to provide for 5% employment of persons with disability. So all of them are, bills addressing the social protection issues, because I've seen them in Madina. Honestly, in Madina, there was one little boy that I had to lead to get support to remove a tumor, and it was over 60-something thousand Ghana cedis. But I had to do fundraising and so on and so forth. And of late, if you go around, you see how kids are being carried on the streets and all that. As a state, that shouldn't be the way we should go. And that's why I feel when all these bills are passed, they would address direct needs of people living in Madina, including people living in the entire country. So when it comes to legislation, this is what I've been doing with legislation so far. And then when it comes to oversight over the executive, you know, I've been doing multiple parliamentary questions, and I know you'll be asking me a question on one of them in health.
Yeah.
We've done in education, we've done in housing, any aspect of life that borders on my work. Also, as a deputy ranking member on the Legal, Constitutional and Parliamentary Affairs Committee, I've put a number of questions to the Attorney General. All of them are part of oversight. Even the road minister. You recall how I led demonstration in Damfa. As I talk to you now, I'm still being prosecuted. I still go to court as a common criminal.
And how far with that case?
Well, it's still ongoing. As it is now, I just go and they just keep adjourning it. Adjourn, really, because they don't have any case.
Yeah, true.
Really. But the point is that even as in terms of oversight over the executive, I've been really fighting really hard in the last 2.5 years or so to keep the executives on its toe in terms of delivering on its mandate to the people of Madina. And then comes the being an agent of development in the community, some of the things you can do. You know, as an opposition MP, you can't do much when it comes to physical infrastructure.
True.
But even that one, we've been able to push little things, fix some gutters, some drains, supported some community initiatives to fix some gutters, you know, some small infrastructure for education and health and so on and so forth. But mostly, I've invested heavily in human capital development. That is where, if you look at my education program, we have the Best Teacher Award. That gives the overall Best Teacher a car. And it's never happened in our constituency before. And we have multiple scholarships, number of children who have gone to school, both local and international programs, through the scholarship and support from the Office of the Member of Parliament. Then we have the health project, where I've been fighting for health infrastructure, which is part of the reasons why we're having this conversation.
Yeah, most importantly.
And just the last 2 weeks, so we partnered Cuba Embassy and ran one of the biggest medical outreaches at Oyarifa. Over 600 people had free eyeglasses, and many others. We had 4 emergency cases that were referred, and some of them are preparing for surgery and so on and so forth. So in terms of health and education, there have been major initiatives going on. And then we have the Madina Job Center.
Yeah.
But that is the biggest, because the Job Center, as we speak now, has impacted more than 6,000 people.
Wow.
Directly and indirectly. Yeah, people have trained. We have multiple training models that they are undergoing. And those who get direct jobs on account of job connections. Because we advertise a job, they apply, we connect them. We have youth in driving, youth in biking, multiple things that we do with the Madina Job Center. Then I have the Islam project that specifically goes on to support the Islamic community. We are harmonizing the Makaranta curriculum that they used to teach the kids every weekend. We've been working to provide support for vulnerable groups during the Eid and then during the Ramadan. We have the special Sosu Salah Fest. And a number of things that we are doing with
I can feel that. I can feel that. But now let's narrow the conversation to health. And how is healthcare delivery in Madina like?
I would say that healthcare delivery in Madina, generally, I would say is fair. It's fair because between worse, bad, fair, good, very good, and excellent, I will go for fair.
You go for fair.
I'll go for fair.
That is to say, it's not that good.
I think it's just average.
Yeah.
If I say it's average, I say that, you know, with passion, because I feel the government has not paid attention to health care delivery in Madina.
Wow.
Now, the health infrastructure in Madina, which was a subject of the question I asked the minister, I think has not been well developed. And I wasn't surprised that the minister then said that we are not even part of the budget.
So Madina was not even captured in the budget at all?
No, we are not part of the budget.
So no provision is made for
Madina.
That is sad.
For the fact that the minister is now saying that because I raised it, they will consider it in the next budget. And then they said if we could even find some land, they could then see whether they can do a new health infrastructure there.
So, Honourable, there's no Agenda 111 in Madina. There's nothing like that.
You see, that's the point. In fact, there has been some shortcutting.
Okay.
For Agenda 111 at Damfa.
Okay.
You know, some part of Damfa. However, it was just a shortcutting, nothing more.
There's nothing.
So the question is that if you don't have us on your budget, why would come and cut short when we are not even part of your budget?
That's a very important question to raise.
Yes, and quite apart from that, recently we did a performance review of the health sector, and it was terrible because even the health directorate does not have a befitting office. The assembly has tried to get them an office. I have now voted part of my, I think about 50,000 out of the NHIS fund, which I'm supposed to have used to support other critical areas. I'm now using it to provide for equipment and some basic furnishing, just so that the head director will find a place to be.
That's sad.
And it's not supposed to be like that. You know, they lack basic things like computers and things just to regulate and to supervise health infrastructure or the health delivery in Madina. And so it's quite unfortunate. Right now, as part of that infrastructural intervention, I'm working to see that we can finish one recovery ward at the Madina Polyclinic around Rolling Circle. Okay. The Kekele Hospital, which was an assembly project, began during the former President Mills's time. We were thinking that this government will focus and finish it. It's an assembly program. And the assembly for the last 6-7 years has not paid attention to that. And now I'm quite surprised that the assembly was not interested in committing a little resources to finishing that health infrastructure. And we've been on the government to intervene, and we haven't had much from the government.
How has this affected your people?
I think that generally people, once you don't have the adequate funding for health, adequate personnel for health infrastructure, and then you don't have like the requisite health infrastructure, people will definitely be affected. I mean, in terms of mortality rate, I don't have the direct figures.
Okay, exactly.
However, I know that when we run a regular health outreach, like the way we did 2 weeks ago, and people show up, you would realize how much in need people are as far as healthcare is concerned, and that if they have access to quality health infrastructure, a lot of them will make themselves available, you know. And so I think that the people of Madina deserve more when it comes to health, and I'm confident and hopeful that once we continue to hold the minister accountable, sooner than later the minister will show up, because within Madina West, which is the Zongo area, they have a chiefs program they run there. We are looking forward
I was actually going to that.
To establish a full chiefs compound there. And so it's one of the things I put to the minister. The minister is willing to consider that. We have a chiefs compound at Otinibi. The chiefs compound at Otinibi is incomplete. In fact, I'm working with the assembly to see whether we can vote part of our NHIS fund to complete it so that it can be operational. We have a chiefs compound at Steyman, which is often, weedy because the whole place is unkept. And we are looking for the opportunity to really wall the place and sanitize the place and make it accessible and available for people who need help. So these are major things that we've been concerned about, and I'm working around the clock to, push as far as my contribution to health in Madina.
So after the statement, are you going to try to do some engagement, maybe with the Ministry of Health now in person, apart from the statement? Is that something you're considering?
Already the engagement is ongoing.
Okay.
There are a number of meetings ongoing with the Minister of Health.
How positive is it?
It's all based on assurances that we'll be able to have budgetary allocation. And of course, he has raised a concern that the municipal clinic that they wanted to put up, Madina did not have land at the time, and that's why it was sent to I think Kwabenya. Okay. And I'm hoping that with they cutting this sort for Agenda 111 and Damfa Chief willingly having provided land for that purpose, that would rather be our municipal hospital. So they may have to expand the project they have as far as the Damfa project is concerned, as a way of compensating the municipality. Now, as we speak, The total population of Madina is over 200,000.
That's a huge constituency.
It's a huge constituency. If I mean, it probably may get into 250,000. Yeah, because the voter population is about 152,000.
Wow.
So the card-bearing members who just vote in Madina. So I mean, it's a municipality that we must pay, I mean, closer and critical attention to.
Honourable, let me pick your thoughts generally on healthcare by this government. You think they've done well, holistically?
I think that they've been very shambolic when it comes to healthcare. The reason is that they have made more assurances than actually performed when it comes to healthcare. And I say this with a very heavy heart because we saw under the NDC administration the kind of investment His Excellency John Dramani Mahama made in health sector. We saw the progress. We saw the University of Ghana Hospital. We saw the Ridge Hospital expansion. We saw the regional hospitals. There are tons and tons and tons of them. Now, this government, despite having been hit by a major health disaster, or major health crisis, one would have thought that if there will be any aspect of human development that they would have excelled more, it would have been health sector, because they would have taken advantage of the health crisis to invest more and heavily in health.
They prided themselves with Agenda 111.
Agenda 111 is just a slogan. Where are the hospitals? It's just a slogan.
So they are different stages of completion.
It's just 111. It's just one of those: one district, one factory, constituency, $1 million a year, one district, one dam, or one
village, one dam.
It's just one of those things.
Oh, okay.
It's just sloganeering. But I think that, look, we can't build a nation with slogans. We build a nation with positive action. So until those slogans turn into a positive action, it means nothing. You see, and that's why it's unfortunate that despite all the money that this government made, or the money that came into our economy on account of COVID-19, one would have thought that they will invest heavily in health infrastructure. But unfortunately, the resource is there for everyone to see. This government has failed the people of Ghana woefully when it comes to health infrastructure and when it comes to healthcare.
Let's get back to Madina. What do you intend doing? Maybe now that government support is not coming, are you considering some other steps in terms of health development?
I think that there are many other steps I've been considering, but they are of course limited to what I can do at a time. The first major one is that it's my heart desire that I can leave my legacy project for the people of Madina in health.
Okay.
And so I have this wild dream of setting up a 1,000 capacity bed hospital. And I'm looking at it being a children's hospital.
Wow.
But that will run a regular OPD for people who may want it, and it can be a facility that will serve the entire sub-region. That's my goal. I know you may call it a dream, and it's a very wild idea. However,
it's possible.
That's fine. But I believe I can. I believe we can make it happen. I believe that if I organize and then mobilize the regular partners and people who are, interested in healthcare, I'm sure we should be able to do that. Thankfully, the chief of Damfa has given us 10 acres land for that purpose. In fact, he gave me that land before I heard that the government also went and looked for land for Agenda 111. So now it's put the program in a balance. Whether, because if Agenda 111 is going to be in Damfa, how are we going to build a children's hospital also in Damfa? And how? So it's a little bit in a balance. However, that's one of the biggest things I want to do, which is like my legacy project I wanted to do in Madina. Now, quite apart from that, I've been in talks with other health NGOs in the USA who have assured. In fact, last time it's just because I couldn't raise the necessary support. I need to raise some seed capital
for them to come on board and support with the rest.
They usually, these are people who collect all the major hospital equipment and gadgets abroad.
Okay.
And then they will package it and ship them to you.
Oh, okay.
But you need to pay some money. As at that time, I think it was about some $25,000 or something.
That's
and
quite
you know
huge.
the CD
the exchange
to dollar exchange rate, it's unbelievable. Otherwise, if I were able to raise that, they were going to ship, and those, I mean, the equipment they were shipping could have served the entire hospitals in Madina, including even outside Madina.
So that is to tell that even medical equipment are big issues.
Oh yeah, I mean, recently I had to donate to, I think it was last year, donate 2 delivery beds to replace a very, very old delivery bed at the Damfa Health Center, which delivery bed had been there for over 7 years. Only one, serving all the, I mean, women who deliver in that area. So even when it comes to infrastructure, in terms of equipment, then we have challenges. And I am hoping that sooner than later, those who are watching us, if you believe in development, you want to partner us, you have somebody who can raise support funding for us, we can partner those people, they can bring this equipment. And I mean, to me as a human rights activist, healthcare is a matter of human rights.
That's true.
Because it's right to life.
True.
If we don't have quality healthcare, then we are endangering everyone's right to life. And that's why I'm passionate about health. And that's why I have a whole health project with volunteer medical doctors who are working with us. And we run every quarter health outreaches and just trying everything possible to improve healthcare in Madina.
Honourable, I just want you to use the last few minutes to assure your people that you are for them and their healthcare is a major issue that you are very, very careful about and you want to handle at all levels.
Well, I just want to take the opportunity to thank the people of Madina for the opportunity to serve them and to reassure them that, look, I am here to serve you. Your worries are my worries and your burdens are my burden. Your stresses are my stress. So I can relate to the very difficult timing that we find ourselves in. I mean, our financial difficulties and the general economic stress that is giving everybody one health problem or the other. I know that the haircut, has gotten some of you. I know that some of you are bondholders and you are worried. Some are developing BP, some are developing all kinds of mental issues and stress. If you check Pantan Hospital, we have, increased number of people now trying to patronize because a lot of you are in distress. I can only assure you that better days are ahead of us. And as your MP, whatever I can do to keep fighting for you, standing for you, speaking for you, use all the legitimate means available to me as a member of parliament to hold government accountable and to ensure that you have quality health care. I will continue to do that and I'll continue to serve you. Thank you very much.
Honourable, before we conclude the conversation, you've picked form to contest again?
Yeah, I have picked form to contest again, and I really look forward to a very beautiful contest.
And how do you think the delegates are looking at you now?
I think the delegates, I would say that is a normal general feeling among delegates because the criteria by which delegates themselves assess members of parliament are different from how the general populace assess members of parliament.
That's very true.
And our goal is to be able to get the delegates to accept that beyond them there's a bigger constituency. Particularly for particularly for urban constituencies. You can have all the acceptance by delegates and the general populace will reject you because they haven't seen the impact of your work.
Very true.
And so it's not just about how much you give a delegate or how much how much money or how much bribe you give a delegate so you can be made a candidate. Mm-hmm. It's more about the progressive programs that benefit both delegates and the entire constituency. So I know that most delegates in the Madina constituency have taken advantage of our job center, and a lot of them have been connected to various jobs and opportunities. A number of delegates have had opportunities to sit in our training programs. which are we have master classes where we train people in various apprenticeships and all that. A lot of delegates have benefited from that. We have people who have benefited from our MP's education scholarship. We have some who have had the opportunity to have international training and so on and so forth. And so I know that the delegates appreciate the fact that I'm serving not only their interests, but also serving the interests of our entire constituency.
Would you believe a lot of people were thinking that you were going to go unopposed and nobody's going to contest you?
Well, that is for the people and that is for the delegates.
To decide.
Where there is contest, it even makes it better. Because
True.
when you come and I'm able to garner about 95% of the delegates' vote, then you know that there's an overwhelming endorsement.
That's the point.
So I believe that 2 years for a first timer in opposition, obviously, what will be the basis for comparison? Do you know that on this contest, for example, within Madina, within the context of Madina, there are only 2 people that you can compare in terms of the NDC members of parliament. That is Honourable Amadou Sorogo and Honourable Xavier Sosu.
Exactly.
Now, Honourable Amadou Sorogo was given 20 years.
Wow.
He was the face of Madina for 20 years. That is why people used to call him Sorogo for Madina, Madina for Sorogo.
Yeah.
The delegates gave him 20 years. The first 4 years he went and he lost. The second 4 years he won, but he was in opposition like I am now. The third time he won and were in power, like I will be in 2024, 2025 going.
Okay.
The fourth one, we were in power again. The fifth one was when he lost again.
Okay.
So he got the delegates in Madina, endorsed Honourable Amadou Sorogo and gave him the chance to represent Madina for 20 good years. I am coming and this is just a second year. So 2 years. What will be the basis for comparison of Honourable Amadou Sorogo's leadership and Honourable Sosu's leadership? But I can assure you that even within these 2 years, if you want to do an objective appraisal of what I have done within the space of 2 years, there is no doubt that I remain the best candidate for the people of Madina, and I remain the best candidate that can protect the best interest of the people of Madina.
And I think the people of Madina should know this.
I believe they know.
Let's finish up the conversation with what you're doing with the police service in terms of the investigation of the death of the young man at the West Hills Mall. What's happening with that?
Well, I think that when the incident happened, we did our own field investigation. So I had a team of lawyers that were on the field on the day the incident happened and collected information on the issue. In fact, the day and then the second day we collected data on what had happened on the ground. Now, our information clearly showed that bad policing, negligent policing led to the death of the deceased. Why do I say so? This is a person coming into the mall that you have met, holding a bag, which you consider to be suspicious, and you wanted to search him. The man, initially, you had some altercation, he refused that, don't search me and all that. In fact, he wanted them even to go to the police station so he can be searched there. You refused and insisted. So, according to the police statement, he picked something and began to run and then swallow the thing. Obviously, I was part of the autopsy report. Obviously, he didn't swallow, because if he swallowed something, it must be in your stomach. But the autopsy showed that whatever was claimed that he swallowed, whether it was an absolute truth by police or not, the thing had choked him. Now, assuming that for we ordinary persons, even when you are eating, whatever you are doing, if you get choked on something, your first reaction is an attempt to either vomit the thing or get the thing out. But this didn't happen in the case of Shadrach, because when he attempted to run, the police officer began to scream, "Thief, thief, thief." So people at the mall assisted to have him apprehended. Now, having arrested him, you put him in handcuffs. By the law, he then is placed in what we call lawful custody of the police. And when you are in lawful custody of the police, you are not supposed to be touched. And that is why, even if it were an armed robber or somebody people are beating, once the police take charge of the person, nobody touches the person again. And it is the police's duty to then shield the person, protect the person, and send the person to the nearest police station. If there are medical concerns, you have to send the person immediately to the nearest hospital. Now, having placed the person in your lawful custody, you then allow him to be beaten. So people were now beating him and then using tasers to tase him. So, assuming this substance the person has attempted to swallow is choking him, so the person is choking on this substance. At the same time, you are beating him, you are tasing him, and he's in handcuffs. How can he survive this? How can he survive this? So, you continue in that manner until the guy fell on the ground and was rolling on the ground. They were still tasing him on the ground until the guy went unconscious. Having gone unconscious, one would have thought that if you have arrested somebody and he says there's something he attempted to swallow, whatever, you should be taking him to the nearest hospital to retrieve it because it's your exhibit. The person having now gone unconscious on the ground, you then remove the handcuffs and then you abandon him. This is how Ghana Police Service behaved. It took the intervention of a bystander who then assisted him to the nearest hospital, but the doctor said he was gone. The guy was dead. And so when the police decides that, oh, we are just arresting the civilian who used a taser, and attempt to, avoid liability in respect of all that they have done, then that's a problem. Because what happened is a clear case of, manslaughter or second-degree murder. It is true, when I was part of the autopsy, when they were doing the cutting, we saw whatever was in the throat, and they said that it's asphyxiation, asphyxiation, which is maybe the lack of oxygen or just choking, right? But the question is that it was immaterial. That's why I didn't even bother on, because at the time the person was carried from West Hillsmore, he was dead. He was dead before you remove your handcuffs and went. And so it's immaterial what's in there, because if he was a free person, he probably could have pulled that thing out. But you handcuff him and you killed him there and abandoned him there and now claim that we didn't do it and we are not responsible. What kind of policing is this? You see, the police service is a service. It's not a force. That's why we have armed forces and police service. Police providers, they provide service. The ultimate duty of police is protection of life and property, not to destroy them, and having destroyed them, failing to investigate themselves. And that's why we've been calling for independent police commission. But that will be a medium to long-term thing. Right now, if the Inspector General of Police does not have any respect for human life, does not place any value on human life, then I don't think that he's fit to be there. And that is why we have petitioned His Excellency the President that he should be removed immediately. And we have sent a copy of the petition to the Police Council. We have sent a copy of the petition to the Parliamentary Select Committee on Defense and Interior. We have sent a copy of the petition to the Speaker of Parliament. And we are hoping that a series of actions will ensure that he is removed from office. Because every single life counts. Assuming the one who died was the son of the IGP, is that how he would treat it? Assuming the one who died is a son or a daughter of a police commissioner. Assuming the one who died is a son or a daughter of a minister of state. Assuming the one who died is a son of a member of parliament. Assuming the one who died is a son or a daughter of an influential person in our society. Is that how the police will behave? So honestly, it is rather unfortunate. Yes, as we speak now, there are multiple actions. There is, a human rights investigation before Shraj. That's entirely different. There is calling for his, resignation, his removal. That's another action. And I'm hoping that even whilst he's removed from office, this parliament will investigate the circumstances leading to the death of the young man.
Are you therefore thinking about parliamentary probe?
Well, there is a statement that is going to be made on the floor of parliament sometime this week.
Okay.
And I'm sure that when members of parliament have discussed this statement, potentially, definitely, there could be parliamentary probe as well.
Honourable Xavier Sosu is the MP for Madina, a very hardworking MP in the Greater Accra region. And we are just very grateful for your time, and we hope that we can have more engagements to understand many of the things that you've been doing in the constituency and for our country as a whole. We will come back again, certainly. We will come back again. So thank you so much for your time.
I really appreciate it. And my regards to everybody in Madina. And hey, I love you. This is Madina Golden Boy.
Thank you so much. This is In Focus on Healthy Morning. We'll see you after the break.